Thank you, folks, for joining us today at the CSN Mint. I'm Kevin Cash, joined by my good friend Corey Cady. And Corey and I today have a coin that is the most important commemorative that we've ever had the pleasure of sharing with you at home. And this is the commemoration of 80-year anniversary of the most important day in World War II and the most important day of any war, D-Day. This is the 80th anniversary silver proof graded by NGC.
That's right, Kevin. Of course, World War II, the deadliest war of all time, 70 million casualties, of which an estimated 40 million civilians. Wow. And of course, as you mentioned, Kevin, D-Day, a pivotal turning point in the war.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The most important day in World War II history and history of the world, potentially. I mean, to think about a few small steps, had they gone differently, Corey, not only America, but the entire world would be a different place.
Absolutely. It's the largest collaborated military attack in history. So you had the Armada crossing the English Channel, 5,000 ships, 1,200 of which warships, 4,000 landing crafts. Kevin, you had 12,000 aircrafts. In total, 160,000 people crossed the English Channel.
It's unbelievable to think of the magnitude of that day and what happened, and to think of the planning and the coincidence and the happenstance that happened to bring that all together, and to remember that our own General Eisenhower, 5-star general, was the commanding general in that operation.
That's right. He was the supreme commander of the Allied forces. And yeah, I mean, D-Day did not happen overnight. This was a huge collaborative effort over 1 year of planning. And they say it was the greatest military deception since the Trojan horse.
Yeah, and it absolutely is by far. Now, if you take a look at this, what we've done on this label here to commemorate such an important moment in history is, you'll notice at the top there, obviously this year, 2024, the 80 years from D-Day, and this was brought to us by Alderney. Now, Alderney is one of the islands in the British Isles that was actually invaded and occupied by Nazi Germany.
Right, the Channel Islands. It was the only British territory to be occupied by the Nazis in World War II. And if you look at the coin, of course, you have the troops walking across the beach, the iron cross-looking objects there. If you watch any documentaries, they show an aerial view of the beach, Kevin. You'll see those scattered on any image of a beach that you see on the western coast of France. So those are referred to as Czechoslovakian hedgehogs.
That's correct.
And they would, of course, in high tide, ships trying to land onto the shore, those would get their hulls pierced. If you unloaded tanks onto the beach, they had a heck of a time transgressing over those. Those would get hung up. They would ultimately pierce the bottom of the tank. And that was something that Hitler referred to as the Atlantic Wall. The entire west coast of France, over 2,000 miles of shoreline, was lined with those Czechoslovakian hedgehogs. Thousands and thousands of miles of barbed wire. Wow. And then, Kevin, of course, you had millions of mines, landmines.
Yeah, that's hard to believe that we actually were able to, as the Allied forces, make our way through that and change the tides of history, starting on D-Day, June 6, 1944. And hard to believe it's been 80 years already. I recall in 2020, the U.S. Mint released the 75th, the V-75, right, commemorating the end of World War II. Mm-hmm. And it seems like just a moment ago, and that's already been 4 years since then, when they released the gold and the silver V-75.
Right, that's certainly one of the most sought-after commemoratives that we've ever offered.
Yes, sir.
The V-75 was 75,000 total 1-ounce American Silver Eagles with the V-75 Privy Mark. And then on the gold, the 1-ounce gold had almost an identical mintage. 1945 was the mintage on the 2020 gold eagle from the U.S. Mint. And this is an opportunity here, 1,944 coins in the limited issue. Now, of course, not all those will be in the perfect 70 grade like we have here today, proof 70, first day of issue. And at $149.95, a tremendous value. That V75, Kevin, I know you mentioned just last week we had one in the office.
Yeah, I helped a collector put that into their collection, and we were able to secure that at $1,195 for that V75 coin,
Right.
with an issue of $75,000 to commemorate the end of World War II. So
Yep.
at only 1,944 of these, it was a significant number and year, and that's why we put that on the label here. And you'll see there, NGC did note that there is this coin is one of 1,944 struck. Again, at the top of the coin, D-Day prominently displayed, 1944 to 2024, as well noted there with the 80 years as the troops make their way across those beaches like they did nearly 80 years ago. And it's hard to imagine it's already been 80 years, and we are losing the stories and the history because as time goes by, you can imagine, Corey, if you were 18 years old and one of those young gentlemen storming the beaches there, you're now in your late 90s, you're 98 years old and beyond.
Right, yeah, so those living tales, great-grandpa, grandpa, fathers, into the mid to late 90s, unfortunately, I think it's 16 million U.S. served in World War II, and less than 1% is just over 100,000 as of last year that were still with us. Unfortunately, that number has probably decreased now a year later. And that's why it's just an honor to present a coin like this with the significance, paying tribute to some of the bravest troops to ever serve. And of course, with this day, we, of course, would have to mention, when you think of D-Day, of course, you think of Omaha Beach. The U.S. soldiers were the first to land, and they landed on Omaha Beach. There was the 5 code names for the beaches. So you had Utah, Omaha, Sword, Gold, and Juneau. And the U.S. soldiers landed in Omaha, and things did not go that great. Of course, it could have ultimately went worse, but there was nearly 5,000 casualties, and of which right around 2,500 U.S. soldiers lost their lives that day.
Yeah, we think about those and we remember those folks, and we remember them and honor them with this coin. And this is an opportunity for our collectors to be able to share those stories, as we said, that younger generations may not understand and grasp the full gravity of. So this is one of those that folks are going to be getting multiples on to share with their children and grandchildren, and generational coin here and the importance on this. And NGC's done a phenomenal job of recognizing that. And that's why they put this in the Premier Select Series label, which is exclusive to us here at CSN. Again, this is a first day of issue, and you are guaranteed at that $149.95 price a perfect Proof 70 Ultra Cameo, noted as one of 1,944 of these struck. It's a tremendous opportunity, a significant piece in your collection, in any collection, and please call now because these will not last long, Corey.
Absolutely. It's a thing here with, of course, commemorating such a significant day, a turning point in World War II. Had this not been a success, there's a very good chance the war wouldn't have ended a year later. It could have dragged on, and this is an event that, of course, greatly impacted millions of Americans, but this is a worldwide event, and it changed the transgression of society, of civilization. I mean, the world, you don't know what it would be like today had we not established a foothold there on the west coast of France and ultimately liberated the French and ultimately got a stronghold there, and it was a turning point in the war.
Yeah, absolutely. The most significant date in any war, and in World War II by far. So,
without a doubt.
With June 6, 1944, already 80 years past, do yourself a favor, pick up the phone now and grab as many of these as you can comfortably afford on this historic, monumentous piece that will go quickly. Again, with only 1,944, we will sell out. They're just $149.95. Put as many as you comfortably can into your collection today now. Please stand by. Operators are waiting, and do yourself a favor. Do it. Get this into your collection. Do it now before we sell out, and thank yourself once you've done that.